Shalom. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Chakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops at Great Millstone for teaching me this truth. I'm your brother, Rabbi Knapp, coming out with a lesson, Lord's wills, edifying to the Lord's elect. I found this video. It says deadly mass shooting at Stockton family gathering. It says at least 4 people were dead and 10 others wounded after gunfire erupted during a family celebration in California, officials said. Let's watch this video.
Police say they received reports of shots fired around 6 p.m. Saturday at a banquet hall. First responders rushing to the scene where at least
6 p.m. Saturday. Okay. So just watch, just listen.
14 people, including children, were shot and taken to local hospitals. Witnesses say they heard several rounds of gunshots.
There was 3 sets of gunfire. I wasn't really too concerned about it, but then the next 2 sets came, and then all of a sudden there was all these police are here.
Investigators say they believe this was a targeted incident and the suspect remains at large.
Our #1 priority is ensuring that we find that suspect and hold them accountable.
The Central Valley community now reeling amidst the gun violence.
This is Thanksgiving weekend. This is when families come together, celebrate, share memories, give each other love. And unfortunately tonight, heaven is a little bigger.
Now investigators are urging those with any information about the shooting to come forward as detectives work to determine the motive.
Just an awful scene. All right, Melissa, thank you for that.
Let's get the motive. Let's get the motive out of the scriptures, Ecclesiastes 39. No one considers that the Heavenly Father does these things, so that's why we got to constantly bring these scriptures out, man. I bring them out all the time. Brothers bring it out all the time, but we're going to keep bringing them out. Ecclesiastes 39, verse 28. There be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of destruction, they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them. So these spirits were created for vengeance. Okay, so the Lord created these spirits. He's the father of spirits, as it tells you in I think in the book of Galatians. Look that up. The father of spirits. No. Let's try this again. The father of spirits, KJV. Hebrews 12, verse 9. Furthermore, we have had fathers of our flesh which corrected us, and we gave them reverence. Shall we not much rather be in subjection unto the Father of spirits and live? So he's the one who sent these spirits. He's the Father. He sends these spirits, and they do what he tells them to do to what? It says, appease the wrath of him that made them. Okay? So he made them. All right? And he sent them to destroy. Fire and hail and famine and death, all these were created for vengeance. Teeth of wild beasts and scorpions, serpents, and the sword, punishing the wicked to destruction. They shall rejoice in his commandment, and they shall be ready upon the earth when need is, and when their time is come, they shall not transgress his word. So they were created to do these things, and they're not going to transgress the word. So a lot of these men that children, 4 dead, you know, the Lord does all of these things, man. You know, he does it all. And in order to avoid these things, first and foremost, you gotta keep the law, statutes, and commandments to the best of your ability. Isaiah 45, verse 7, I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. So that was evil. He created that. He created it to, he doesn't do any iniquity, but he sent an angel over there to bring forth some wrath. Psalm 78 and 49. He cast upon them the fierceness of his anger, wrath and indignation and trouble by sending evil angels among them. So he sends these angels to do just that. Do something evil, send bad times, and do something, do the dirty work. Okay, so to speak. Deuteronomy 32 verse 39. See now that I, even I, am he, and there is no God with me. I kill and I make alive. I wound and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand. So you can't even run if you wanted to. All right. Habakkuk 1 verse 13. Thou art of purer eyes than to behold evil, and canst not look on iniquity. Okay, so he's of purer eyes to behold evil, and canst not look on iniquity. So he don't like wickedness, and he's not doing any iniquity. Meaning, thou art of pure eyes to behold evil. Okay, let's look this up. Okay, the quote, and is part of a prayer where the prophet questions God's silence in the face of wickedness. It expresses that God is so holy that he cannot tolerate evil and is pure in his nature. Yet the prophet asks why God would allow wicked people to prosper while more righteous people suffer. The verse is used to highlight God's righteousness and the ultimate certainty of judgment against sin. The ultimate certainty of judgment against sin. I think I was looking for something else. And will not do any iniquity, KJV. I think I was thinking of something else. See it. Let's just type in iniquity. I think it is Habakkuk 1 and 3. But the Lord doesn't do any sin when he does these things. This is what I'm trying to say here. There's so many verses. Let me see if I can something along them. Let's say the Lord doesn't do any iniquity, KJV. Is it Zephaniah 3 and 5? Let's see. Zephaniah 3 and 5. The just Lord is in the midst thereof. He will not do iniquity. Every morning doth he bring his judgment to light. He faileth not. But the unjust knoweth no shame. This is exactly what I was looking for. He will not do iniquity. Okay, Zephaniah 3 and 5. So he's not doing anything that's not unrighteous. I mean, he's not doing anything unrighteous. He's doing everything according to the law. Or he's a just power. Whatever anybody gets, they deserve it. And he's only going to give you according to the measure that you committed against him. He believes in, he's a balanced power. So knowing these characteristics of the Lord, we should repent and hope we don't stack up that bill higher than, hey, all right, I got to this point, let's cut it off. Okay, a false balance is an abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is his delight. Okay. So, just weight's going with equal and an opposite. You reap what you sow type of thing. Okay. But he also pardons. When you read Isaiah 59, it says, behold, the Lord's hand is not shortened that it cannot save, neither his ear heavy that it cannot hear. But your iniquities have separated between you and your God, and your sins have hid his face from you that he will not hear. For your hands are defiled with blood, and your fingers with iniquity. Your lips have spoken lies. Your tongue have murmured. It's like your muttered perverseness. None calleth for justice, nor any pleadeth for truth. They trust in vanity and speak lies. They conceive mischief and bring forth iniquity. They hatch cockatrice eggs and weave the spider's web. He that eateth of their eggs dieth, and that which is crushed breaketh out into a viper. So your lies cause other people to fall. Long story short, their webs shall not become garments, which are these lies. Neither shall they cover themselves with their works. Their works are works of iniquity, and the act of violence is in their hands. Okay, it's an act of violence to teach lies and come up against the truth. Their feet run to evil, and they make haste to shed innocent blood. Their thoughts are thoughts of iniquity. Wasting and destruction are in their paths. The way of peace they know not, and there is no judgment in their goings. They have made them crooked paths. Whosoever goeth therein shall not know peace. I don't think I was looking for that. Isaiah 58:1. Cry out loud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgression, and the house of Jacob their sins. Yet they seek me daily, and delight to know my ways, as a nation that did righteousness and forsook not the ordinance of their God. They ask of me the ordinances of justice. They take delight in approaching to God. Okay, abundantly pardoned. That's what I'm looking for. It might be as abundantly pardoned. I thought it was in Isaiah 59. Oh, man. Abundantly pardoned. Let's see where that's at. Isaiah 55:7. Let the wicked forsake his way, and the unrighteous man his thoughts, and let him return unto the Lord Yahweh, and he will have mercy upon him, and to our God, for he will abundantly pardon. So he pardons too. This is the reason why I'm grabbing these scriptures, man. So all of this deadly mass shootings, ultimately is judgment from the Lord. Job 4:7, even though there's kids involved, remember I pray thee, whoever perish being innocent, or where were the righteous cut off, So no one's being punished with iniquity by the Lord, even though he's the one who's causing all of these things. And we know through scripture, I'm not going to grab every single scripture, but we understand that. I'll grab one, just to try to get to the point. Second Esdras, the 14th chapter, that we suffer judgments because of, Second Esdras 14 and 14. And or somewhere in here, I forgot where. I thought it was 35, but Second Esdras 14:35. For after death shall the judgment come, when we shall live again, and then shall the names of the righteous be manifest, and the works of the ungodly shall be declared. So, for after death shall the judgment come. So we die from sins that we committed in our past life. We come back down here, and we get judged for them. Okay, and that was the judgment of them, So we don't want to keep doing these things, but the judgment going out, long story short. All right. Let's see what
AI is no longer an abstract threat. It's causing job loss right now, and the headlines, they tell the story. The Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, on Wednesday released a study that found that artificial intelligence can already replace 11.7% of the U.S. labor market, or as much as $1.2 trillion in wages across finance, healthcare, and professional services. The New York Times recently reported that Amazon is on the cusp of replacing what would be 600,000 warehouse jobs with robots, and plans to automate 75% of its operations. CNBC reporting that Salesforce, Walmart, Paramount, UPS, YouTube, and Meta have all announced new rounds of layoffs attributable to AI, with nearly 1 million job cuts nationwide this year.
Hey, man. And we always grab the same scriptures. Isaiah 19:15. Okay. Neither shall there be any work for Egypt which the head or tail, branch or rush may do. Okay, let's go to cross references. Anything pop up? Psalm 128:2. For thou shalt eat the labor of thine hands, happy shalt thou be, and it shall be well with thee. Nope, that's not what I'm looking for. Habakkuk 3, verse 17. Although the fig tree shall not blossom, neither shall the fruit be in the vines, the labor of the olive shall fail, and the field shall yield no meat. The flock shall be cut off from the fold, and there shall be no herd in the stalls. And that's pretty much going into a collapsing society. All right. Haggai 1:11. And I called for a drought upon the land, and upon the mountains, and upon the corn, and upon the new wine, and upon the oil, and upon that which the ground bringeth forth, and upon men, and upon cattle, and upon all the labor of the hands. So that's a drought upon all the labor of the hands. Okay, so we can see that happening now. Okay. You can see that, man, with this AI generated bull crap. Let's see what else. Let's got a little bit more.
It's the job loss that we can measure. Now consider what some are predicting about the future. Goldman Sachs estimating that 6 to 7% of the U.S. workforce could be displaced due to AI adoption. They do note, however, that the impact may only be transitory because new opportunities created by AI might ultimately put people to work in other capacities. A report by the McKinsey Global Institute finding that AI could displace 40% of American jobs due to automation by 2030. That analysis found that robots and AI agents could automate more than half of U.S. work hours, both manual and cognitive, using technology that's available today if companies redesign how they'll do things in the future. The World Economic Forum projecting that 92 million jobs.
So as you can see, man, he said both and cognitive. They don't need you to think anymore, man. You know, so AI is surpassing you physically and mentally. And you wonder why he wants to give you an MOTB so you're gonna be the AI. You're the one, you're the vessel he's gonna occupy. He's gonna be making you do these things. There's a movie called Upgrade. It's a really good movie if you see it. If you know what I'm talking about, dude gets the MOTB and he's in his head thinking that he's living in some fantasy world with his wife. But in all actuality, he's he's being controlled. And that's what he's gonna do with y'all, man. He's gonna be controlling you while you think you're on your way to Mars like a fool.
Jobs worldwide may be displaced by 2030. Ford's CEO saying that AI could replace half of all white-collar workers there. NYU professor Scott Galloway predicting that AI will hit middle management first.
Middle management first.
Noting that 6% dropped in managers at public companies since 2022. So,
Gotta grab it. You gotta get Revelation 13 on this, man. You just have to. Any cause of fall, Revelation 13, verse 16. Both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. So both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond. He don't care what level in society you're in. You're going to have to receive this mark. And that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark. So all this, what are you going to do if, what kind of jobs you're going to do? They're going to be controlling all of that. They're going to determine your occupation. Ain't going to be no freedom, I need to go to school. I want to be this when I grow up. Nope. So he going to predetermine, he going to put the code in you what he wants you to do. Revelation 13, verse 18. Here is wisdom. Let him that have understanding count the number of the beast. For it is the number of a man, and his number is 636. Okay? And then, so you're going to have to take this device in order to prosper in his society. But you're not really prospering because you have no control over yourself at that point.
Here we are, AI eliminating jobs, more automation coming. If millions of people lose work, how will they support themselves?
And how are they going to support themselves? Do you know?
This is where an idea from the 2020 presidential campaign returns to the conversation. Universal Basic Income, or UBI. The concept, pretty straightforward. Every American adult would receive a set check each month. For Cook County, Illinois, which includes Chicago, this concept just became reality. The Cook County Board of Commissioners unanimously approved its 2026 budget proposal just this month. It includes $7.5 million for a guaranteed basic income program. Commissioners approved it after the success of a pilot program, where the county provided $500 a month to 3,200 households over 2 years. Survey findings based on that pilot revealed that 94% of the program recipients used the funds to address financial emergencies. 75% reported feeling more financially secure. 70% said that the program had a positive impact on mental health. Of course, there's the question of how do you pay for it? In the case of Cook County, as a result of the decrease in commercial real estate values, everybody's property taxes are now sky high. In Chicago, rising 16.7%, the largest jump in at least 30 years. West Garfield Park saw an increase of 133%, North Lawndale 99%, Englewood 82.5%. And there's pushback from the Illinois Policy Institute, which cites concerns about workforce and income effects. Quote, Cook County is making its guaranteed income pilot permanent and committing millions to a failed strategy already shown to leave people with less work experience and lower earnings. Back in 2020, it was...
And this dude right here, man, Yang, in 2020, he was the one who started all this, was talking about all these things. And this is how we even knew about universal basic income. And now, 4 years later or 5 years later, here it is. It's a talking point, you know. And they want to start where? Cook County. I don't know if that's Chicago, but you got a mayor in New York who, Mandani, he's supposed to, this is like a socialism system that he's trying to implement. Or at least we know this is just a means of bringing you closer to the MOTB. A lot of people are going to opt into this, especially how hard it is. But you got to see the snare, man. You got to see the snare. And if you don't see it, man, then you're going to be screwed. Because Esau is very deceiving. He's really good at what he's doing. That's why a lot of y'all, you know, you don't get it. You can't get it, man. He dumbed you down all the way to the point where he can implement this shit with a smile on his face and you'll fall for it. Because you've been dumbed down so much that it looks good at this point. And it's ultimately because you ain't got the spirit. He done did everything he could do to dumb the majority of the people down to this point. And even with the jab shot, he was able to get a large majority of the world to agree with that. Okay, so he was like, you know what, these numbers look good to me. I pretty much got everyone in the palm of my hand where I want them to be. I mean, I'm gonna get a good amount of people. You know, there's more people that's for me than there's against me, and then there's you know, another group that's kind of like in the middle, and then there's a smaller group that ultimately it just ain't gonna accept this bullshit, and we gonna have to kill them. Okay, so he understands all of that. All right, but if you do take it, the scriptures talk about you getting put to death, and if you don't take it, scriptures talk about a victory. All right, so I'm putting my trust in Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai to get through these times, while y'all gonna trust these devils, these heathen, for your salvation in the future, and that's going to cost you your life.
Presidential candidate Andrew Yang, who called his version of universal basic income the freedom dividend, specifically $1,000 per month, no work requirements, no means testing, a direct payment to help people cover bills, weather economic transitions, and adapt to a job market reshaped by technology. Andrew Yang joins me now. Andrew, nice to have you back. I pulled a profile of you from 2018 when you were just on the cusp of announcing your candidacy. Here's a quote that you provided to the author of the piece. You said, "Need is self-driving cars to destabilize society. In a few years, we're going to have 1 million truck drivers out of work who are 94% male with an average level of education of high school or 1 year of college. That one innovation will be enough to create riots in the street, and we're about to do the same thing to retail workers, call center workers, fast food workers, insurance companies, and accounting firms." It was 7 years ago.
Sounded like he was prophesying.
Are often the ones.
How is that quote aging?
It's aging very, very well, unfortunately. Michael, I'm so glad that we're having this conversation. 44% of American jobs are either repetitive manual or repetitive cognitive, and thus could be subject to AI and automation. And we're seeing that unfold right now. It's heartbreaking for me because I feel we could be doing much, much more for the millions of Americans who are going to be displaced.
I know that Cook County is just a microcosm, but I'm sure in hearing about their experience, people are wondering, okay, Andrew Yang, we're on board. Now we get it. What you saw 7 years ago, the rest of us see, but how do we pay for it?
The CEO of Anthropic, Dario Amodei, just raised his hand and said, "You guys should tax us, the AI firms." And right now, hundreds of billions of dollars of value is being realized by Anthropic and these other firms on the back, by the way, of data that we all provided unwittingly and didn't agree to it. But it's trillions of dollars of value.
See, took you. It's the cunningness of this devil, man. Take all your data that you didn't even know you were sharing and use it against you.
Value, and most Americans aren't going to see a dime of that. So if you have the CEO of an AI company saying you should tax us, I think we should take him up on his suggestion. And if you have an AI tax or a compute tax, you get to very big numbers very quickly.
So they're now referring to the Magnificent Seven, or the S&P 493 instead of the S&P 500. Put a graph on the screen right now for the benefit of everybody at home. The Washington Post had this coverage. The point was that if you strip out Alphabet, Amazon, Apple, Meta, Microsoft, Nvidia, and Tesla, then the market's doing okay, but the market surely isn't doing what it's doing when you include those seven. And I guess my question for Andrew Yang is, what happens if
that difference, excluding the Magnificent Seven, those seven firms, you got a 1,057% increase. Without those seven, your shit is you going back to levels that was prior to 2020. Without the excluding the Magnificent Seven, he calls them. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. So your stock market's propped up.
That is a bubble and it bursts. Then how do you fund the freedom dividend or universal basic income?
They're telling you the plan right then and there. That's crazy. Or if it bursts. How ye Mac Tesh, man. Gotta grab it. I gotta grab it. Zechariah Salakia. Zechariah, chapter 1. And I can't find it. I thought it was Zechariah. Maybe, I don't know where it's at. Just type it in. Zephaniah 1 and 11. How ye inhabitants of Maktesh, for all the merchant people are cut down, all they that bear silver are cut off. And it shall come to pass at that time that I will search Jerusalem. Salakia. Zephaniah 1 and 10. And it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord Yahweh, that there shall be the noise of a cry from the fish gate, and a howling from the second, and a great crashing from the hills. And that's talking about a stock market crash. Okay? Because the second, when you look into it, right, when you go into Jerusalem, there was like different parts of Jerusalem, and you're going to hear the cry in the beginning, but then, when an invading army comes in, you start to hear the cry. But then when it gets into the with the sheep and the goats and all of that at the fish gate where people are selling things and stuff, that's the judgment expanding into a further part, and then that great crashing from the hills, going to the stock market collapse. How ye inhabitants of Maktesh, for all the merchant people are cut down, all they that bear silver are cut off. Let's look at this word Maktesh. So this is basically prophesying a stock market crash, what he just said. A mortar or deep hollow, a hollow or valley, evidently in the greater Jerusalem area. Okay. That's what it says.
Well, right now, a lot of the value that's getting generated is being hoarded or held by a handful of companies, Michael. I think you're right that we should be trying to spread those value gains more broadly across the market and to people. Right now, US GDP is around $85,000 per person and trending upward, because regardless of whether AI as an investment thesis is a little bit overhyped, you know that it's going to have a positive effect on GDP. So if you have 85,000 ahead, then having $12,000 a year, which I proposed in 2020, actually seems pretty modest and reasonable. And that's going to be affordable regardless of what happens with some of these firms' valuations.
As you envisioned the freedom dividend, there was no means testing. Everybody gets a check, whatever that amount might be. What becomes of other federal assistance?
Honestly.
He asking some good questions.
Well, I intended the freedom dividend to try and clear up and clean up some of the bureaucracy and administration that's currently being applied. I spoke to a disabled woman in Iowa during the campaign, and she said she wants to volunteer in her community, but she's afraid to because she's afraid to lose her disability payments. And I think most people looking at that situation would say, well, that's not right. Like, the intention is not to force this woman to stay home. So if you can put this into people's hands and say, look, this is going to be yours regardless, then it empowers them to go out and hopefully build things, start businesses, and participate in their community. Capitalism does not work very well if people don't have money to spend.
So is this capitalism that we're talking about? It sounds rather socialist, doesn't it? That everybody's going to get a check and therefore they won't have to go to work because all these jobs are being taken by AI initially.
It's capitalism where income doesn't start at zero, Michael, and you have a consumer economy that is predicated on folks being able to participate. And if you shove billions of Americans to the curb via AI and automation, then they're not going to be able to go to their local business. They're not going to be able to meaningfully grow the economy. They're going to stay at home. They're going to end up going down internet rabbit holes and getting radicalized in many cases. So that's a loss. And so if we can get people connected in various ways, that's the direction we should go. And I'm not someone who thinks that this money is a silver bullet that's going to do the trick. I mean, you still have to convey.
He said you're gonna go in the internet rabbit holes, man. Oh man, so true, man. Because you're gonna want to know what the hell's going on. I like the way he put that. That's exactly what's gonna happen. You're gonna run into a brother's channel, and guess what? You just hit a rabbit hole, man. Because this truth is a rabbit hole, man. This truth is 100% a rabbit hole. You'll be in this, and you'll be internet rabbit hole. That's funny. Let me grab this, the book of Isaiah 24 in verse. Where is it? Isaiah 24 and 11. There is a crying for wine in the streets. All joy is darkened. The mirth of the land is gone. So there's going to be a crying for wine in the streets and uproar of the people. You know, they're going to want to know why the things are going on the way why is it like this, you know, because it's going to crash, man. it's gonna get out of hand. It's gonna look good for a little bit and then straight crash. And that's Jacob's trouble, man. That's Jacob's trouble. In the political environment, the economy, the world economy, the world wars, all of this is going to simultaneously happen. And he's going to be trying to implement the MOTB at the same time. So it's going to be all out hell out here, man.
Structure, purpose, fulfillment, community, all of the rest of it that jobs traditionally have provided.
Andrew, a final question. There's an academic in the on-deck circle, and I'll bet you've read the stories. It's Dr. Yampolsky who's been quoted as saying that he thinks in 5 years we'll have 99% unemployment. I'll see in a moment whether he's going to stand by that prediction. How bad does Andrew Yang think it will get undeterred?
No, it's going to get bad. I certainly don't think 99% bad, but if you use this 44% of jobs subject to automation as a benchmark, and then you figure that we're going to churn through, let's say, half of those jobs over the next 10 years or so, that puts you at 30 to 40 million jobs that get eliminated, and that would be devastating. That would be catastrophic for many, many communities, and I think that's a realistic place to think we're going to be heading.
Ooh. Hey, they tell you with their own mouth, man. Catastrophic. Nothing good coming to this place, man. So good luck with believing in those lies, man.
Andrew Yang, thank you for being here. Perfect guest on this day.
Thanks for having me, Michael. Wish I had better news. But
go to my website.
He told you. He said he wish he had better news, but he doesn't. He doesn't have better news for you. This is great news for those of us who know the truth. Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 1. Remember now that thy Creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. While the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain, in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened. So what this is saying, this is going to be it. Seek the Lord now, okay, before the evil day comes. All right, before the stock market crash, before there's no jobs, before there's no future. Seek the Lord, man. This is the time to do it. So they're protesting. This protests erupted outside President Isaac Herzog's Tel Aviv residence after Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu formally requested a presidential pardon for his corruption cases. Herzog's office confirmed that the request has been forwarded to the Justice Ministry's Pardons Department and will then be reviewed by the president's legal team before a final decision is made. And the duck told the president, why don't you do that? He made it like a public announcement. Let's grab this. Let's see what they say over here on Fox News.
Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who faces a long-running fraud and corruption trial, has formally asked President Isaac Herzog for a pardon. This comes weeks after President Trump did the same, calling Netanyahu's case a, quote, political, unjustified prosecution. Senior national correspondent William Lajeunesse is live for us in Tel Aviv with more on that. William.
Well, John, President Herzog basically has three choices. He can give the Prime Minister, Netanyahu, a full pardon, which allows him to stay in office. He could also deny that pardon, which would face him, or basically require him to go to trial, potentially face embarrassing evidence, and also risk potentially going to jail and losing next year's election. Thirdly, he could grant the pardon provided that Netanyahu leave office. Now, the country is already divided, and this petition is only going to make it worse. We have some video tonight of protesters outside the president's house wearing green, or rather orange jumpsuits, mocking Netanyahu, is accused of fraud, of accepting $260,000 worth of luxury goods in exchange for political favors. Also breach of trust by attempting to bribe media outlets for more favorable coverage. Now,
Oh, really? Oh, really? Job 15 and 34. For the congregation of hypocrites shall be desolate, and fire shall consume the tabernacles of bribery. So he's a hypocrite, number one. Esau is, I should say, not a Jew. For that's not him. It's just Esau as a whole is a hypocrite. He's an actor. He claims to be righteous and he's not. The congregation of hypocrites shall be desolate, meaning destroyed, and fire shall consume the tabernacles of bribery. So you're gonna be destroyed for the bribes, man. You're trying to manipulate public things on the internet to favor you, and you being exposed ultimately. So he wants to pay them and pay him off so he can look more favorable in the eyes of the world because of what he's doing in real life. And the duck is with him. Everybody's with him, man. And it's just, everyone knows all of this. It's just that, this is all public news. It's just that they're doing it right in front of your face because they don't care about they don't care about y'all. Y'all ain't gonna say nothing about nothing. Okay, they're gonna be condemning us. All right. And who's making an uproar about it? Who's saying something about it? It's the Israelites. Y'all ain't saying nothing about it. Y'all like wickedness, corruption cases. These are the people who rule over you. You're fine with it. Isaiah 54 and verse 17, no weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment thou shalt condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord, and their righteousness is of me, saith the Lord. So every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment thou shalt condemn. And we condemning them. They're going to try to rise up against us in judgment. They're going to try to make us an offender of the word. We condemning their ass. What's that? Amos 5. And what is it? Amos 5 and 10. They hate him that rebuketh in the gate, and they abhor him that speaketh uprightly. All right, so they're going to try to get us, man. And guess what? Hey, it's all part of the trial of our faith.
He denies the charges, calling the case a left-wing witch hunt. Now, the request puts, as we said, President Herzog in a tough position. Why? Number one, it's his decision. Number two, many experts say a pardon can only be granted when the accused admits guilt, and that is something Netanyahu has refused to do.
My personal interest was, and still is, to continue with the legal process to its end until a full acquittal in all charges. But the security and political reality, the national interest, those demand otherwise.
Meanwhile,
you full of shit, man. You full of shit. Esau's a hypocrite, man. He's full of shit. This is the book of Luke, chapter 8, verse 17. For nothing in secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not be known and come abroad. So the Lord's gonna expose it all, man. Isaiah 47 and 1, come down, sit in the dust, and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground, there is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans. For thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Take the millstones of grind mill, and cover thy locks. Make bare the leg, and cover the thigh, pass over the river. So Esau is being exposed, okay? It's not just the Epstein, it's all of it combined together is exposing this devil's system. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. So the Lord's going to expose him and destroy him.
While the U.S. brokered ceasefire continues to hold, but fighting continues. We have some videos here from inside Gaza. It shows the IDF blowing up some underground Hamas tunnels where some 150 fighters had been trapped inside. Now, those remaining are reportedly running out of food and water. And if you look at this drone video, you can see several men emerge from the tunnel looking for cover. So far, the IDF says it has killed 40 Hamas fighters, including 4 today. But this pardon request, John, is all people are talking about. Of course, you have a president, a wartime president, who literally led Israel out of a threat to its very existence. On the other hand, people are going to say, listen, we have the rule of law here. The man should face the charges. The president, under a lot of pressure in this kind of situation, and it only continues to build, obviously, not only inside Israel, but you would expect something from Washington as well. No timetable, John, for exactly when he'll be required to make a decision. Back to you.
A lot of pressure.
Hey, it's Will Kane.
So a lot of stuff going on in the world, man. But I'm ending here, Lord's will. This was